I wanted to talk to you a bit more about some of the inventors you talk about that I had never heard of. So one of them is electronics engineer Benjamin Robert Bob Thiel, who demonstrated a revolutionary electric motor called the magnopulsion engine about 40 years ago, which was then ignored and unfunded. The end of the magnopulsion saga of the 1970s was summed up as, while the publicity brought hundreds of inquiries, nothing ever came of interest. The motor's performance was just too unbelievable for most engineers and scientists who observed its operation. Observed its operation. Didn't believe it. That is such a problem these days, as if these things even come out, people won't even believe that it's possible. We're so mentally captured by what we think we know about what's possible at this stage. We doubt things like that. But what about Bob Thiel? This is a new one, the magnopulsion engine. What did this do?
Well, I love it when I can get multiple data points that confirm the same conclusion. And that is, you can use magnets, very, very simple device sometimes. You just give them a push. So an initial part of an energy surge to get two magnets rotating in such a way that the negative and positive, every time they come around, give it more spin, give it more spin. This is actually a workaround from the second law of thermodynamics, that all machine will come to an end. That's called entropy. But this is the workaround, that these magnets produce the free energy. And so Thiel is just one in a long list of inventors who have used these magnets to create an outflow of energy. And this is a huge breakthrough. Just like with Mark Cummings and the crystals, when you can achieve more energy than put in with the initial burst, it's a game changer. And so that's why they come down so hard on these inventors when they won't sell out, when they get rejected from the patent office, when they continue on their work, they just get suppressed. That's why isn't Thiel up there with Einstein as one of the greatest inventors of all time? Nobody's ever heard of him because they get kicked under the rug and they just want them to go away.
Right. We're given our heroes from the system, and the heroes are usually the ones that keep things right at the level that they want and don't go any further. And you have this section called Energy Utopia, and you write about, quote, independent researchers that began to notice the anomalous effects of applying resonance to a controlled experiment. And you say John Keeley and the International Association for New Science. John Keeley, I do know that name. He had a motor as well, the Keeley motor. I don't know too many details about it, but talk to us about applying resonance to certain things and the effects that seem to come out of that. And this International Association for New Science, what are they about?
Well, they are this group that's going against the cabal controlled energy system. Because look, energy is the number one industry on this planet. And if that were to go away, you're talking about a lot of very powerful people losing their financial cash cow. And they don't want that to happen. And they will go to great lengths to quiet these people. Keeley, like so many others, are working in this realm and getting these breakthroughs. So they banded together and started this association. And we certainly wish them well, but it's an uphill battle to try to get this out to the people. But there is some talk that maybe Elon Musk, he certainly would be privy, as well as Donald Trump. Did you know Donald Trump's father, uncle was John Trump, who was privy to all the patents and all the technology that Nikola Tesla died with in 1943, alone and broke in the New Yorker hotel. And the greatest genius of our time, who also developed free energy through the Wardenclyffe Tower and using just a frequency of the earth, that Tesla discovered that the earth produces a pulsation. And he was able to entrain that. And the tower that we saw in Wardenclyffe was merely the distribution, that it went way down into the earth, and he had some kind of way to capture that pulsation, kind of like the two magnets. So there's different ways to approach free energy. The other is what the ETs do, and that is bombard neutrons on element 116, which Bob Lazar spoke about in the late 1980s. At the time, element 116 didn't even exist. So people were quick to jump on the bandwagon and say, well, that does, how could that make sense? Since that time, actually, Bob Lazar has been vindicated, and they have discovered element 116. So there's different ways to approach free energy. And certainly, if there are extraterrestrials coming to the Earth from some faraway universe, they're not using the Roman candle rocket model and run out of energy before they even get to Mars. They must have some kind of exotic propulsion technique. And Greg, that is the reason why they want to keep the whole extraterrestrial contact under wraps. They don't care if we discuss whether they have scaly skin or slit eyes or what they look like, because question number 2 is, if they were to disclose this, question number 2 is, how did they get here? Oh, really? Then how did they power those craft to get here? And that would certainly upset the apple cart of the energy cartel.
Yes, I agree. And I'm glad you brought up element 115. You have the section element 115 revisited. You say the periodic table actually has 140 elements, not 104. The additional 36 are of alien origin and are being applied to Earth-based projects, yet officially discarded by science and Earth culture as a whole. You say bismuth in the same periodic column as element 115 is reputed to possess a gravity wave extending beyond the boundaries of the nucleus, which in the case of element 115 can be amplified to create harnessable electrogravitic effects. I never heard the term bismuth, as far as I know, or bismuth. Bismuth. That's a weird one.
Well, it's on the periodic table of charts. But from 115 on to 140, these had thought to have just been theoretical elements, but now some of them, I think we're up to 118 now, have been proven in a laboratory. And sometimes they can just recreate the conditions and it'll show up, but then go away right away. So to have it in a solid form, like Bob Lazar said, is actually a total game changer, because that's truly extraterrestrial elements, that we can only reproduce them for a short period of time and know they exist, but can't really have them in the physical form. And so that could be a big game changer too.
Yeah, I actually just looked up bismuth and what it's used for. It's the main ingredient in Pepto-Bismol. So it keeps things down as well as bringing things up.
There you go.
Can you believe it, people? A video clip and a peek into how that sweet THC sausage is made. For some people, I'm sure it's nice to put a face to the name, so I started making clips that are a little more YouTube friendly than the full show tends to be. Get the full show on any podcasting platform. I prefer to keep it audio only, so we have a more decentralized distribution for a controversial show, and also so I can edit out the ums and ahs and barking dogs and all the things that happen when a person records in their home environment. And then if you really like the show, you can sign up for THC Plus, and instead of 1 hour interviews, you get the full 2 hour interview for just $8. I think that's a better deal, more of a win-win than asking you to support the show by booking a therapy session or buying generic Viagra. It's getting weird out there, folks. So just go to the highersidechats.com or click the link at the top of any set of show notes, and all your wildest dreams will come true. All right? All right. The Higherside Chat Show.